what's going on? Welcome back to the Friarside chat. It is September 14th, 2023. Padres had a 3-3 week, 500.
Against good competition.
But still out of it, as we've been talking about. That being said, they are 69-78 on the season, 9 games back in the wild card.
But 3-3 against the Dodgers and Houston while using what we would call at the beginning of the year backup players.
Yeah.
And young guys coming up to get time in the MLB to get some experience. And they're getting wins. We beat the Dodgers.
We're doing just as well or better with replacement players. Right?
Yeah. No, I think it's crazy. We didn't beat them in a regular season series all of last year, and it just happened. So that's a positive. If we're looking for silver linings, as we often are now, that is one for sure.
Little redemption. Tatis got a RBI single or 2 RBI single off of Joe Kelly. So he got his redemption.
Knocked him out of the game, but it was kind of a bloop. Broken bat single, but we'll take it.
Yeah, box score, right?
Better than him Kane up against them.
Little fun things, right? There was some. We'll get into it a little bit later in the show, but there's some rookie call-ups. They're playing pretty well. A familiar face has rejoined the Padres, so we will look into that a little bit as well. But I think too, let's start with. So Blake Snell pitched yesterday.
Love it.
And another really good start
against a really good opponent, which is helping his case.
Yeah. So let's revisit that a little bit. I know we had deep dove on that maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I said he was going to win Cy Young. You were a little more skeptical. Have you come around now? Are you bought
Not
in
so
now?
much. Yeah, I'm more bought in. Sure.
Yeah.
Because he's been consistently good for a long time now.
Yeah.
We've seen Blake Snell go on some tears before. This is no longer a tear.
Right.
This is his season.
Consistent. Yeah.
He started out poorly, and I'm not even holding that against him anymore because he's been so good since and against really good opponents. And what also helps his cause, Strider, struggling a little bit. He has more Ks, but his ERA is inflating.
Yeah.
And Blake is continuing to just chip away at his own ERA that's already seemingly so hard to sustain.
Yeah, deceptive with Strider because he's leading, I think, the entire league in wins, but it helps when, right?
You have the Braves offense.
Braves offense, so of course you're going to get more wins. And then, the Ks are up there, but as you mentioned, ERA is inflated. Although about Justin Steele,
everyone's calling for him to win it.
A lot of people have him as, I guess right now they would say 2 behind Snell, but it's because, so I looked into it, right? And so his ERA, for a second there, he was ahead of Snell. But after this last outing from Snell, Snell took the advantage again slightly. But it's by
marginal
0.05 or something. So they're basically neck and neck on ERA. However, Steele has a better adjusted ERA plus, which is taking into account strength of opponent and ballpark that you're pitching in. He actually leads in that, which I think is a pretty interesting stat. And then, win-loss percentages, home runs per 9, couple other randoms. So
people like the K, though,
neck
too.
And neck.
That's why Strider had the leg up on Snell for that minute, was of how many Ks he had. Snell has a lot more Ks than Steele does.
Yeah.
If Snell loses, it's going to be because of his whip, which is going to be because of his walks.
Leads the league in walks.
But I think he has a real shot. It's a real shot at it.
Really interesting case because he also is the best at getting out of jams that he gets himself into.
Walks matter when walks score.
Yeah.
And they're not scoring.
Right.
So that's the defense against the argument, but I still think people like the whip number because it is often very indicative of how dominant a pitcher is.
Right.
So
very true.
We'll see.
Yeah, it's still definitely one of those things to stay tuned, in the Padres season here. I believe there's about 15 games left, so it's probably, 2 or 3 starts?
Well, you can watch the Padres 3 more times when it matters.
But, so he'll have 2 to 3 more starts. Very interesting.
Yeah, it's going to come down to the wire. It's a fun race, and it's nice that we have someone in it.
I know.
It really is. I've enjoyed it. Snell's a cool dude. We've talked about that many a time, but best of luck to Snell.
Very cool. Very cool.
Can we talk about something that has been just on my mind lately?
Let's hear it.
We've had some guys that we weren't expecting to perform well this year, perform really well, and it's, again, no longer a small sample size.
Yeah.
I'm talking Cosgrove. I'm talking Campusano.
Yeah.
These are guys that are looking for something. They look to be exciting next year. Mm-hmm. I'm excited to see them come to camp. I'm excited to see them play a full season.
Mm-hmm. Well, do you think? Because I have a theory about they're trying to prime Cosgrove in a closer role.
It seemed like that,
right?
Because he closed out the last game.
I think that's at least the vibe I'm getting. Because it's right. Hader's gonna be a free agent. As much as we'd love for him to re-sign, I don't know how realistic that is.
I like Hader. I don't like the price tag that's going to come with Hader.
Right. Exactly. And it's right. And if Cosgrove can get the job done, why not? Padres, like we've talked about, Padres breed closers. It's just one of the things that our development does do well.
And we have options. I mean, you have Suarez when he's not sticky and not injured. Garcia actually, for a minute, looked like he could potentially be a closer. Mm-hmm. Not right now.
Yeah.
You never know when he could turn the corner. But yeah, Cosgrove, how interesting would that be? Because he's also under control and young.
Too. Yeah, 25 or something.
Could be really cool.
Yeah, I'd love to see it.
Me too. I'd be stoked. And he's crazy. He's got what I would think of as the closer mentality.
Yeah.
You know, the closers tend to have a little something to them.
Screw a little bit loose, but it's exactly what you want to see.
Exactly.
You know, it was funny, though. You know, we talked about how devastating his slider was, but yesterday he hung one to Colton Wong, who I didn't even know was on the Dodgers, by the way. But
I didn't either.
But still, I think that was like the first... I don't know. We don't watch every single one of his outings, of course, but...
Watch most of them.
I haven't seen someone piece up slider, but I haven't seen him hang it quite like that either. So
no, and I think the book is out because I was left-handed. Yeah. You know, when you see a pitch like that, it's very hard to get used to. But I think the book on it is if it starts at your kneecap, it's going to be over the plate. Trust it. And you have to break your brain into thinking, swing, it's going to be there. Yeah. And I think that's going to be the book on him. So... Gonna get a little dicey. We'll see how he does.
Does he only throw fastball slider?
I think so.
Okay.
He might have a changeup. No, he has a changeup.
He has a changeup?
He has a changeup, which really helps because it breaks the same way as a sinker.
That would be really nice because I think he goes like 2-seam slider change. Mm-hmm. I wanna look at the game yesterday, but I could have sworn I didn't watch the game, but then I saw the last 2 innings, and then Cosgrove was closing it out, right? And he was pitching as JD Martinez. I'm not sure if I saw it right because I was kind of half watching. I could have sworn I saw him get to 2-2 and literally just give Campusano the fastball, and then he threw it.
He blew by him.
Yeah, maybe I was seeing things. I don't know. I'll have to go back and watch it, but I could have sworn I saw him just get the ball and just and then threw him a fastball.
You need to find that clip, and if you do, we're posting it because that would be awesome.
Well, I'll take a look at the game. I know MLB has all the archived games. So if I can find it,
BDE.
And I hope that's actually what happened because if that's what happened, I'm even bigger Cosgrove.
I'm already a big fan of him. I think he's fun to watch.
It might have just been my eyes tricking me, but who knows?
What's your take on Campy?
Dude, he's a freaking guy.
He's been so fun to watch.
He's been so great.
It's what we wanted him to become.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. We've been hearing, as Padre fans about him for a couple years now, right? Because he is one of the guys who we actually have developed and brought through our system, which is kind of rare for the Padres. Mm-hmm. And to see him actually turning into all the things that we thought he would is pretty awesome.
With room to grow, right? His ceiling is still high. And it's been really cool because, like you said, we've seen him in spring training for years. Mm-hmm. And he looks sick. He looks like Tatis light. He's shorter, thicker
he's
Tatis.
Stockier Tatis from the back.
The secret to his success this year is his Barry Bonds cross earring. Oh, my Lord. I haven't seen something like that in a long time.
Hot take.
Yeah. It's hilarious.
It's kind of true, though.
But he's choked up on the bat more for better bat control, but he still swings as hard as he's ever
Barry
done.
Bonds.
Yes.
Whoa. You're onto something.
Barry Bonds. No, but yeah, it's just really cool. And if he could be the bridge to Ethan Salas, I'm all for it. And then they're both playing together because they're both young.
That tandem
could be really, really cool.
Do you bring back Sanchez next year?
Ooh, really good question.
Just on catcher talk,
Yeah, that's a good take. I think I want to say it. My heart's telling me yes. Mm-hmm. My brain's telling me no.
Yeah.
I want Campy to have the everyday thing, and I think it's going to really help him defensively because that's where he's struggling a little bit right now.
Yeah.
He has the arm. He can throw people out. Mm-hmm. I'm not worried about that, but it's just I think if he's your number one guy through and through, his confidence goes up. He gets more defensive reps.
He also gets more pressure.
Sure. Yeah. But, I mean, at some point he's going to have to make that jump, and I think Sanchez being here now has helped him already tremendously. Yeah. So if those two are the tandem, I'm not upset about it.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if it's the best move.
I would say bring him back for a year.
A 1-year contract, I'm fine with.
1-year contract, I think, would be perfect.
But Padres just haven't done that in a long time. They always like to.
And I guess if you're Sanchez, you don't want.
Yeah, because he's kind of proved himself a little bit, right? He was struggling, comes to the Padres as a spark plug, and it's a great resume builder. He's like, hey, guys, I'm not on my way out. I'm figuring stuff out, and I'm good to go. So
yeah,
we'll see. We'll see. Better question: Who is going to be the other catcher if we don't sign Gary Sanchez?
Well, that's
Nola's eye thing, so that could.
he's definitely like a wild card at this point.
Is Nola gone after this year?
I don't know. I don't know that. That's a good question. We should look that up.
Because if he figures out his sight and can hit better, he's a good tandem.
Be postseason Nola from last year.
I like Nola. I hate his production this year, but the guy's a good dude and he can handle a staff. And historically, he hits for average, and I like that out of a catcher.
Bring back Alfaro.
I love Alfaro. I have a soft spot on Alfaro for sure. This guy is a grinder. Goes to Boston. They sign him on a minor league deal, which at that point I thought, why aren't the Padres giving this guy a minor league deal? He had 5 walk-offs for us that year. Has a mural in San Diego. Mm-hmm. What was the holdup? There's something to it that we don't know.
Yeah.
Because if he was willing to take a minor league deal,
right?
Why not?
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, he outperformed all of Boston's catchers in spring training. Mm-hmm. Still gets sent to the minors because in his contract, if he made it to the bigs, he was going to get a bonus. Mm. And then he comes up, he gets a shot with the Rockies and doesn't do well at all, which is weird because everything else led up to being like, he's going to do really well.
Yeah.
Didn't. So he's kind of an enigma.
It's a very interesting one.
I like him, though. He runs so fast for not just a catcher, really anyone in the league. He's sneaky fast. And he has the clutch gene. Yeah. Which God knows the Padres need. He won't come back.
I was about to say that. I was like, had Alfaro been on the roster this year, Padres might not be 0-11.
Guarantee that, dude.
In extras. But who knows? So, yeah, some guys just have the clutch gene. But speaking of Padres who have made, or I guess that was a hypothetical Padre who could make a return, but we actually have a Padre who made a return.
Great segue.
Jurickson Profar.
How great.
He's back. For those of you who don't know, Jurickson Profar is back on the Padres, signed a minor league deal. They brought him up with all the injuries, which we'll get into a little bit later as well, and been doing awesome so far. Mm-hmm. Small sample size, but let me read you the little stat line. 5 games played for the Padres this year. He's hitting .421, .476 on base percentage, .632 slugging, 1.108 OPS. Mm-hmm. And he hit a bomb in maybe a second or third at bat back in the Padres lineup against the Astros. Pretty awesome.
It is awesome. And what's really awesome about it is that it feels like that scenario where right club, right guy, right time. Mm-hmm. Profar opted out. Mm-hmm. Didn't feel great because he felt like one of the driving forces in the clubhouse. He's a happy guy.
Right.
He was someone who stood by Tatis. Mm-hmm. When everything hit the fan, he said, hey, we're going to be the best teammates we can be to him. And, honestly, going into this year, you could have really used someone like that in your clubhouse to keep Tatis up. And Tatis, credit given, has handled it tremendously without Profar. But, when we're talking about when he opted out, it was kind of like, oh, dude, you're abandoning us a little bit here on a year where we're supposed to have this big run.
Yeah.
Goes out, tries to test the free agent waters. It was still for him right before spring training and all that. He finally gets a bite from the Rockies to sign for $500,000 more than what he was making as a Padre. Mm-hmm. Not great. Not a good look. Goes to play for the last place Rockies. Plays terribly.
Yep.
Gets cut. Comes back. All that crap I'm talking right now. I'm so happy he's here because he is happier here. Mm-hmm. You were saying it. Huge smile on his face the whole first game he was back. And you mentioned the reports. He's with his brothers.
Yeah.
He loves this team, and it's showing in the play. Yep. He's having a great time. He's playing good ball. He hit leadoff for us the other day.
Yeah. Well, and he's filling in, spots that injuries have been killing us with, right? Like Cronenworth being out. He's filling in first base. Well, actually, Cronenworth and Choi.
Yep.
We'll get into that a little bit. But so he's been playing first base, giving Cooper a day off. You can slot him in the outfield. That's one of the other big draws about him, right? Like, not only is he performing well, and, seems like a good dude in the clubhouse. But, you can slot him in literally anywhere. Maybe safe catcher or something. But anywhere on the infield, anywhere in the outfield, he's not a liability out there.
Let's not forget the fact that Joe Musgrove's no-hitter, the final call is ground ball to shortstop. Mm-hmm. Ha-Sung Kim throws across the diamond to Jurickson Profar at first.
Yeah.
that's going to be in the lores of San Diego Padres history forever, and it's such a weird combination. But Profar also went to left field as an infielder and developed into a plus defensive outfielder. And I missed having him there because there were days where we didn't have the best outfield, and we could have used him. So happy to have him back. Hopefully he's here to stay at a cheaper price now. If nothing else, he gave the Padres leverage to be able to sign him for less money. Yeah. And now he knows, hey, I went somewhere else. I didn't like it. I came back. I love it here. It's kind of like he left his girlfriend, tried to go out in the dating world and went, oh, God, this sucks.
This is bad.
There's only so many drinks people can throw in my face. And then he came back. And she gave him a hug. Yeah, gave him a warm hug.
It just feels, like the right spot for him. Even when you look, we already mentioned how he meshes well with the players, but also like Preller and him were boys in Texas. Yep. He played for Bomel in Oakland, I think, too. So it's like he has those connections too. It just makes sense.
So do you resign him at the end of the year?
I would.
I would if the price is right.
Yeah, as long as it's not a similar situation where he's asking for way too much. But I think having been humbled this last year, I think it puts them in a better, this is a fair evaluation of contribution.
And I think he respects the fact that they're giving him a chance to play ball. I mean, he was DFA'd.
Yep.
Come back up to the bigs. We'll take you. I think it's going to be a good match for both sides. And given that the Padres lack depth, he's a very serviceable piece that you can hopefully get for an affordable price. And he's a good clubhouse guy.
Agreed. Cool.
Happy to have you back, Profar.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to talk a little bit about just the injuries because we had mentioned a little bit before how some of these guys are getting opportunities to play. And so I think these two things kind of
hand in hand,
right? Guys go down, gives opportunities. So I'm going to start with a couple guys that are down right now, right? We learned just the other day that Darvish is out for the year. Stress reaction in his elbow, and they said there's a bone spur. So he's basically just trying to avoid a full-on stress fracture. I mean, do you think the story is different if the Padres are in contention? I don't know.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I think it's probably the right decision for him.
It is. I think it totally is, and I think it would be even if we were in contention. Yeah. The problem is when you're in playoff contention, you don't get that every year, and these guys are competitive. You rush back because you need to be there for your team, and I'm totally all about that too.
Yep.
But we're in a luxury situation, if there ever is one, where everyone can go and get healthy. You don't have to run the risk of burning out these players that you also have on long contracts. Yu Darvish is here for a long time. Jake Cronenworth is here for a long time.
No.
Manny Machado is here for a long time.
Right.
I don't want them rushing back and doing something dumb where they're out for their careers or have something that will turn into a lingering for their careers.
Missing all of 2024, whatever. Right?
So, again, the silver linings that we look for are they're going to get to be able to get healthy and be good for many years to come, which is what we want.
But, yeah, I didn't even know. We had talked about how Machado is dealing with an elbow, but they actually diagnosed it with tennis elbow.
Ooh, that sucks.
So he's actually shut down from... It says he's going to be shut down from throwing pretty much for the rest of the year. Good. So he'll strictly be DHing. But hence, so we've been seeing a lot of Matt Batten, who, to his credit, has been playing really good.
Really good defense. And hitting.
And Eggy Rosario they pulled up, which we actually found out, at least on the broadcast, they've been... We weren't sure how to pronounce his name, if it was... UG, or I said Eggy. But no, at least on the broadcast, they said Eggy, so we'll go with Eggy. But he's been getting some more playing time. He's one of the Padres' top prospects. He's only 24. He homered against the Astros.
Bomb.
So that's a good example of a guy who's getting an opportunity because of these injuries. So, like you said, look for every silver lining. That's one.
Yeah, I'm excited. I didn't even tell you really about this, but I was kind of looking at our roster construction and some of the prospects we have coming up. And I don't know if it's because of all the other teams around the league that have had this batch of young guys come up. Your Baltimore Orioles, the Seattle Mariners, all these young guys coming up, becoming almost instant superstars or getting instant production. Yeah. You look at them in their second year, they're starting to really become solidified players in the league. We have some of that coming up. I mean, Rosario, I think could be great. You look at Campusano behind the dish, could be great. You got Jackson Merrill coming up, who could be great. And then you still have Tatis, potentially Soto. Manny Machado's a brick in your foundation. Jake Cronenworth is another brick. So, all these people are coming up. And it could be really fun for the Padres to have youth become their star talent, where before it really hasn't. I mean, you have Tatis, and that's really it. That has come up and been young superstar. We've been signing big names, free agent names, making big trades for big names, kind of either in their prime or beyond. Yeah. We're going to get to see some development turn into superstars, and that's so fun.
Yeah, and I feel like with this new kind of wave of, young talent that's coming through right now, it almost seemed like for so long, it was like even if a guy might have been ready at 21, 22, it felt like they were still pumping the brakes.
Yeah.
But then, with the wave, like you said, Tatis, then if you even look around the league, right, we were talking earlier today about Julio Rodriguez and Ronald Acuna Jr., right? Like these guys all came up at like 20 years old and have been studs. So why not?
And the Reds. I missed the Reds.
The entire Reds infield, basically.
And some of the outfield.
Whole story.
It's exciting.
It's a great example. And actually, I think that works as a great segue because I understand you did a little prospect deep dive.
I've got the prospect deep dive this week. You did a great one last week on Busch Jr.
Who are we looking at?
We're looking at the biggest name, Ethan Salas.
Exciting.
It's so exciting, man. They're giving him comps to like Mauer, and
that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say like, based off everything I hear, just a plus bat, left-handed bat, really good defense. That was the first guy I thought of.
Now we're gonna go really far back on this guy because there's a lot of things to be excited about him with, and he follows a similar trend to a lot of the greats, which is having a lineage within baseball history. His is nuts. I did not know this before I did my dive.
Let's hear it.
First off, the Salas family, no creativity with names. His grandfather, Jose, played for the Astros and the Royals. His uncle, Jose, played for the Blue Jays. His father, Jose, played for the Braves. And you'll never know his brother's name, but it's also Jose. He's the Miami Marlins #5 prospect.
I remember hearing that one, but I didn't know like the father.
These fools are all Jose, man.
Really?
Yeah, it's a lineage. And then you got Ethan. They used Jose on his brother and go, what should we name this guy? I don't know, Ethan. But yeah, dude, that's crazy. That's a long line of big leaguers. And we're not just talking prospects. Like, they all played in the bigs, except for his brother, who's not there yet, but he's destined to be as their #5.
Interesting.
So you got a 16-year-old who has a wealth of knowledge to just tap into all the time.
Multiple generations, too. That's big.
And in succession. It's not like your great-grandfather and then your dad. It's like, no, ask anyone in the family. They've all experienced what you're going through.
That's crazy.
Really cool.
Yeah.
So he's 6'2", 175 pounds, great build for a 16-year-old draft, now 17. He's freshly 17. Left-handed bat, throws right-handed. And his rating through MLB.com, their scouting metric, which is from 20 to 80, he's already ranked at 55. Which is above the MLB average player rank.
Wow.
Awesome. His hitting,
that's great.
60.
60?
Arm, 60. Fielding, 55. Power, 50. And run, 50.
50
on
as
the run.
Catcher.
Yeah, that's high.
That's good.
And power at 50 at age 17 is high.
Interesting.
So he's known to have some raw power. They describe his swing as a loose and free swing in a good way, which is fantastic. Normally kind of in line with just being calm and collected at the plate and being able to feel free within your stuff and not be too technical on where you're going.
Sure. Should be, kind of like that effortless kind of look. I love that.
Easier to sustain for sure. We've played with guys who are very technical in their swings, and you can tell when they're thinking about where their arms, whatever it may be, right?
Overanalyzing every little micro adjustment.
Hopefully we don't have to deal with that with him. But yeah, I didn't know this. He made a verbal agreement with the Padres before the draft day even had happened. And we signed him with a $5.6 million bonus, which is on par with some first round draftees.
Crazy.
And that's coming out of all of our international money. But it seems like money well spent if he's going to be the generational talent, the phenom that they're projecting him to be on all accounts. Now, with that, I didn't know this. He was actually born in Florida.
Okay.
Grew up in Venezuela.
Got it.
Not a big deal. Fun fact.
So he probably hopped back and forth a lot, I'd imagine. I feel like kids like that.
Couldn't tell you. I didn't track down his flight receipts. But In the minors so far, he has played in A, high A, and double A, which is amazing. Getting to double A is a feat that so many prospects never even get
crazy. To. At 17.
At 17, he did it. And it was publicly known that his first hit in double A was a walk-off double, which was exciting. But I do have a few concerns. I'm stoked on him. He's going to be great. But just some concerns on his development.
Yeah.
He played 48 games in A-ball, which is the most by a lot in 1 year. He hit .267 with an OPS of .837 and hit 9 home runs. Whoa.
Huh. So the juice was there.
Yeah. As a 16-year-old playing in high school fields, I wasn't hitting 9 bombs in that short a span.
Very few were.
So that's really encouraging. Now they move him up for 9 games into high A.
Okay.
Average dropped a lot. He went 7 for 35. These are small sample sizes. Bear with. And every jump is significant when you go up in the minors.
Right.
OPS dropped to 472. Again, give him time, he figures it out. But they jump him up to a double A. That's the interesting part. He struggled at high A, goes up to double A.
Yeah.
Average goes a little bit down, 5 for 28. His OPS goes up to 517, gets that walk-off double. He's doing all right, but are we rushing him? That's the question. I don't think so. I think he has the mental capacity to handle the struggles, and now we're giving him live reps at a higher level to what he's going to be seeing at the MLB level. So it's just food for thought.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Because it's a steep enough drop-off where it's like, ooh, is he ready? Is he ready? But, again, it all comes down to the makeup of the player, and I think that's what they're banking on. Because on all accounts, everyone's saying how this kid, and he is a kid, he is a minor, he is 17 years old, carries himself like a big leaguer already. And that's where the family lineage comes into it big time. You learn how to carry yourself versus, having a dad who wishes he could have been playing varsity telling you how to carry yourself at the big league level, right? So a lot of positive things to come about. He literally caught in spring training this year. 16 years old, was catching big league pitchers. I
remember seeing that.
Unbelievable. And did not look like the game sped him up. And when asked about it, he goes, it's the same game I've played my entire life, and that's how I approach it.
I remember, I think he was even drawing walks in spring training and whatnot, and everyone was like, don't overlook that 16-year-old with patience against major league pitchers.
Yeah.
It's just good foundational things.
He knows the game. And he's playing a position that is very mental.
Yeah.
The catcher is the captain of the infield. The catcher is handling a pitching staff. And when you have that position, you want someone who has their wits about him. And he is that guy.
Actually, that's another interesting point, right? Because that's one aspect about catching that I think they don't really account for in statistics a lot is handling the pitching staff. Right? And so you touched on a couple things. It's one, the maturity level. Obviously, I think that's probably going to give him an edge to be able to really level with a lot of the big league, pitching. Because they'll probably just automatically, wow, this kid's mature. He knows what he's doing. He's intense. He's about it. But then also, I'm assuming he's bilingual, right? I don't know. Yeah. That's huge, too. Think about it as a catcher. Because you're going to have, just look at the Padres. It's their pitching staff is, I would imagine it's probably maybe 2/3 English and then you got Japanese and then you got a third Spanish, right? And they talked about Gary Sanchez being able to speak Spanish and
Niebla,
Niebla, right? Coach. Just having that ability to communicate, right?
Goes a long way.
Yeah, and so when you got a catcher who that's just another plus. I feel like it's totally not something that's necessary by any means, but totally huge plus. I think that's probably another aspect of his game that isn't touched on in stats.
Absolutely. So there's a lot to be excited. A lot to be excited about with Ethan Salas. As Padre fans, stay tuned on everything he does because you'll hear about him. And when he comes up, I think he's going to be ready. And it'll be so fun to have another, not Tatis, but just Tatis-esque. And if you get a catcher, catchers aren't easy to find.
Yeah.
Look around the league. A lot of guys hitting poorly and can't throw guys out.
Right.
If you can get a young kid like Ethan Salas to come up early.
Yeah.
And be your guy for decades, look at Molina.
So I was going to say, when you find yourself, a franchise catcher, they tend to stick around.
Because you don't get rid of
Salvador Perez, Molina, Buster Posey, right? Those guys are all just been, they're this is the guy, this is a catching talent you don't see very often. When you have a guy like that, lock him in.
And what would you give for him? $5.6 million? Absolutely.
All right. 16 years old.
Good job, Padres.
Yeah.
Hopefully it all pans out.
I'm looking forward to spring training next year. I feel like he'll get a lot of reps, so that'll be fun to watch.
It's gonna be a good time, man.
Awesome. I really like those prospect spotlights.
I'm excited about next week's.
Yeah.
You got next week.
Yeah, I still haven't decided, but I'll do my research. We might go pitcher. We might just change it up. I don't know. We'll see.
Go pitcher. I'll take Jackson Merrill.
Okay. Well, I like that. Okay. But all right, yeah, let's take a look ahead as we tend to do. So
and wrap it up.
Yeah, Padres here. As we mentioned earlier in the show, there's about 15 games left. This next stretch coming up this week is what you'd consider as light as it gets, but I'm still like literally with this 2023 team, there's no light weeks. Let's just be honest. And in the MLB, like you just don't know. Like there's no light weeks really. Athletics for 3 in Oakland. And then 3 at home against the Rockies. Mm-hmm. So if you're talking statistics, those are the bottom of the bottom.
Yep.
But, again, word of caution, do not overlook these teams.
But, again, silver linings. Mm-hmm. Maybe some opponents that are nice to ease in with these young guys. Rosario's hitting 182. He's 2 for 11. Give him some weaker competition to build some confidence.
Yeah.
Why not?
Get the reps.
Yeah. They're getting reps, man. Mm-hmm. And winning always feels good.
That's true.
End the year on a high. Mm-hmm. Feel good about going into the next year and feel like you've ironed out some of the kinks before spring training, you know? Mm-hmm. And they're having an opportunity to do that. I'm excited to watch Snell.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Cy Young Snell.
Let's get some wins, get some young experience in there. And again, too, like we said, it's only 15 games left. Mm-hmm. You know? Then we got to wait all the way until February, March, I guess. And, you know, a couple guys who might not even be here next year. We got Snell might not be here. Hader might not be here. Soto, who knows? He's still got a year on the contract, but it might be a good trade opportunity. Who knows?
They've been listening.
But all those guys, right, like those are all generational type players who are here now. Just have fun watching them. 15 more games.
We'll be talking about them when they're gone, is the point. And not we as Padres fans, but we as baseball fans.
Yep.
Hader will be remembered. Mm-hmm. Soto will be remembered.
Yep.
Who knows? Even Snell might be remembered if he knocks out another Cy Young. That'll be a 2-time Cy Young winner.
In both leagues, too. I think there's only like 4 or 5 guys who've done that. Or something.
Exactly. So, like Vince said, enjoy them while they're here. And we still have a lot of exciting things to come when they're gone. Mm-hmm. Or if they're gone.
Right.
Go Pods.
Go Pods. All right. See ya.